Hey everyone, Morgan here. So today I wanted to talk about the best types of animals to raise, like on a farm or a homestead, off-grid, anything like that. I wanted to talk about this just because I think that there's some funny misconceptions about a lot of animals, and I'm not personally raising. He does it for attention, I swear. He never does it unless he sees me, and he does it for attention. I haven't raised a lot of these animals personally myself, but I have talked personally to a lot of people that have raised these animals, and what's interesting that you're going to find is that people who raise animals will raise them differently, okay? There's a lot of commonalities with how people will raise them. But people will raise them a little bit differently, and people will have a different ideology about how certain animals kind of should or are raised. I may have to move. He just wants my attention. Maybe I'll go in there, huh? Okay, so when it comes to, first of all, I'm going to talk about raising chickens. You know, a lot of people, they're so funny about chickens. They're just like, oh, chickens are disgusting. Poultry in general is disgusting. Well, let me let you in on a little secret. Any animal that you have is going to smell. They are disgusting, okay? They crap on the ground. They, my chickens, they're not disgusting. I take really good care of my chickens. Right now I'm about to actually go get some hay and put it on the ground. I had some hay down here. Getting kind of grody, so I'm going to put some more hay down so they can scratch and have fun. I put scratch down for them quite often so that they can scratch around and peck and get some, other just, eat, and I give them snacks, and their food is over there. I clean their house about once a week. I put new bedding in there all the time, so that they're not, wallowing in their own filth. You don't want your animals to wallow in their own filth, obviously. So yeah, there is some cleaning involved. There's always going to be cleaning involved with animals. But that's just something that you have to keep in mind with any animal. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. But people are always like, chickens smell bad. Yeah, but are you keeping them in your house? No. Yeah, they're going to smell. All animals smell, one way or another. Pigs are really smelly. Ducks are really smelly. These are all very smelly animals. Most animals are pretty smelly, and they're, a little bit gross. But next thing we have to keep in mind is security of all your animals. How are you keeping them secure? You have to know the local predators, around your area, and then make sure that you're keeping them secure. Are you seriously right now? All right, just went and got him some scratch. We do spoil our animals a little bit because we want them to be happy. You want happy animals. So you want to make sure that they are all well taken care of, that they are protected, not only from predators, but also from the elements. As you can see, we have this whole big structure for them. Unfortunately, we don't let them free range because of the coyotes and hawks, bobcats, and we have a lot of predators around here, and we wanted to make sure that we were protecting the chickens. When I lived in a suburban area and we were able to have chickens there, we let them run wild. There were hawks and coyotes there too, but there was a little more cover and a little more places for them to kind of hide and things like that. So I just felt that it was better that they stay in an area like this, but you want to protect them from the elements as well. So make sure they have plenty of shade. They get morning sun and afternoon sun, so they still do get lots of good sun, but they also get a ton of shade as well. I go hang out there in the middle of the summer. It's pretty nice. So chickens are a really good option. Now cats, they're also really good as like barn cats, outdoor cats. Again, yes, there are predators, but cats are pretty instinctual. They're really good about climbing and hiding, and they know the safe places and the secure places, and they figure that stuff out. They take care of rats and snakes and a whole bunch of other problems. So pigs are really, really good for having on the homestead and They eat basically anything, and I've been really wanting pigs just because I hear that they're super easy to raise, but I do hear that they need extra security because they are escape artists and they will get out really, really easily. So make sure that you have a really good, tight, secure place for them. And, they do need to be, their area needs to be cleaned out a little bit. Some pigs might need, some mud pits, different types of pigs might need different type of stuff. I've been wanting pigs, but I've been a little confused about which type of breed is going to be best. And then also how to actually source pigs. I haven't found anywhere to source pigs around here or anywhere, so I've been a little confused on that front, but pigs is definitely something we want to raise in the future. Goats are amazing. Meat goats specifically. You could have goats for milk, if you want to breed the goats. That's how you're going to get the milk, is through breeding. Then meat goats are really, really good to have. They produce quite a bit of meat. And what's nice about the meat goats is that you could have like kind of a, good enclosed area for them, and they just walk around eating all the stuff. They'll be your lawnmower, right? So goats are really, really good to have. Now, as far as meat chickens go, there are several different types of meat chickens. There's meat chickens that, may be good in like 4 weeks, and there's meat chickens that are going to be ready in like 8 weeks, things like that. So there's different varieties and breeds. Meat chickens are bred to be meat chickens. They are bred to be butchered, which means that if they're ready to be butchered in 4 weeks, you butcher them within the 4-week period. Other than that, it's really inhumane to let them continue living because their legs are going to break. They'll have heart attacks. They could, meat chickens seem to be more prone to disease, but of course you want to make sure that, you may want to consider vaccinating them or getting them, the medicated feed or whatever that you want to make sure to try to mitigate some of those diseases as best as possible. But also just make sure that they have, a clean area, clean water, lots of food, all that kind of stuff. And then, a good space to roam. Same with the chickens, this looks like a small space, but they've got plenty of room to roam, plenty of food, plenty of snacks, like I said, to spoil them, plenty of water. Also, something you may want to consider with the water is to actually secure it like this so that you're not attracting insects or other critters or anything else to that water. I really like that method for water. Ducks are also another option. I have a friend who's basically duck queen. If she's watching this, she has so many ducks, and she will praise ducks all day, every day. She gets tons of duck eggs all the time. And she doesn't raise ducks to necessarily eat, but you can raise ducks to eat. And you can also cull ducks at any time and for any reason. And that's the same with egg-laying chickens. You can cull them, but they just won't produce very much. They'll be soup chickens, basically. There's egg-laying hens, and then there's meat chickens. They're bred to be very specific things, okay? So, egg-laying chickens, there's egg-laying ducks, and then there are egg-laying quails. A lot of people a lot of people raise quails. Quails are actually a really great option because they're small, they're very easy to raise, they produce eggs, and then you can also eat them for meat. So raising quails is a really great option. Again, they don't take a lot of space. They're really good in hot areas. Quails are really great to raise for meat. Now, again, they only produce a little bit of meat, so you'd have to raise a large quantity of them, but you don't need a ton of space to raise quail. And then they still, they produce those eggs, and then of course you can use them for meat. And then there's rabbits. A lot of people praise rabbits, raising rabbits for meat because they are pretty easy. Rabbits are very easy. They really don't take a lot of space. Their food, can come from a variety of sources, lettuce and carrots. Like you can, have like you could make a garden specifically for your rabbits. It's like a rabbit garden. You could have like the rabbit garden. This is all the food for the rabbits. You could also have a chicken garden. This is all the food for the chickens. That's your alternative source instead of buying commercial feed. But anyway, of course they need extra protein and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, we can go into that another time. Rabbits are very easy to raise. Now, a lot of people say that they need to be temperature controlled, as in, if it gets over a certain temperature, it gets too hot for them, then they'll die. However, I've talked to 2 different people on this topic. One person says that they will die off after a specific temperature. Another person says they raise them in extremely hot temperatures and they don't die off. In fact, you want to actually get rid of those rabbits that are dying off from the heat because they're a weaker rabbit. So you want those resilient rabbits, right? So I've heard from two different people that one person says they're not good in the heat and the other person says they're just fine in the heat. So I think that it may just kind of depend, but raising rabbits for meat, again, very, very simple, and they can eat a variety of stuff. Of course, you can raise cows for milk and meat. I think they're a little bit more intense. You need a little bit more to raise them, like a little bit, you need kind of a significant amount of land, and not only that, you need a significant amount of feed for them, in addition to, a little bit of time devoted to, actually caring for them. Yes, you can just throw them out to pasture, and then whenever you're ready, whenever they're ready to be butchered, then you butcher them. And then with cows, in order to milk cows, you do need them to breed, just like you would need a goat to breed for the milk. So, you can, I think I was reading that you could get milk from a cow for like a year after they've had a calf. So, it's a whole thing there, the whole breeding and everything. Now, to be totally self-sufficient, you do want to breed. And that's definitely one goal that I'm reaching towards, is to try to breed. I have one rooster in here, and I would love to breed the chickens to not only have for ourselves, but to sell as well. And then at some point, I would like to breed meat chickens as well. I think that would be a good kind of rotating self-sufficiency sort of way. You do want to be careful with meat chickens. There are a lot of hybrid meat chickens that you should not breed. You shouldn't take those hybrid meat chickens that you get and breed them. It wouldn't work out. You want to try to actually purchase meat chickens that are good for breeding. They're very specific types of everything. There's specific types of, goats that are better for meat. There's specific types of, there's meat chickens. There are sometimes specific animals that are specifically for raising for meat. So you do want to keep those things in mind. There's animals that are for eggs, animals for milk, animals for meat, and then of course, another big aspect of taking care of your animals is making sure that you understand the signs whenever they are appearing to be sick. Whether you need to extract a chicken because the other chickens are picking on her. That's happened to us before. So understanding the dynamics of your animals in general, understanding how to take care of their first aid needs is also really important. Getting a book, understanding what you're looking at and how to look it up and how to actually treat it, all very important. And having the necessary first aid items for your animals in order to properly take care of their first aid needs. Of course, doggies. Doggies are also really good to have around, just for companionship and security and all that. So, of course, trained dogs are highly recommended, and understand their needs as well. Of course, dogs are a lot like cats. They I'm not going to be eating them, or they don't provide anything besides being fun and cute and companions and security. And our dogs are also rat chasers as well. They're just like the cats. They get those rats. Basically, you just take care of the animals. You just want to make sure that they're well taken care of. They have plenty of shade or shade options, right? They have water, they have food, you give them treats every now and then. You see them. Your animals have to actually know that you're the person taking care of them. That's important as well. I definitely want to be on the path in which I'm raising more animals at some point, and at some point also breeding those animals, so that we're kind of having that whole kind of self-sufficiency thing going on, that cycling, and to give them away, to sell them, or to keep them for ourselves, or whatever the case may be. It's a whole thing. We're not quite set up and ready for that whole system yet, but eventually. And a nice thing about a lot of these animals is that you can give them scraps, and you can grow food in your garden for them, or like with the goats, they just eat everything around. Even here in the desert, there's a lot of things that that goats eat. So, you'd be surprised what goats eat and cows eat. There's cows everywhere free ranging here. You'd be surprised what animals can eat, and how they can sustain themselves. But yeah, just keep them protected, keep them alive through feeding and watering them, take care of them. Happy animals produce a happy farm and a happy life, so take care of them. All right, that's all I wanted to talk about on this topic. I would love to hear your thoughts on the best types of animals to have on your homestead, off-grid, even backyard purposes. You can have chickens. If chickens are allowed in your city, you can have chickens in your backyard. I think that's a great start. You can raise rabbits in your backyard. That's a great start. Quails could even be raised in your backyard. These are all great starts, and you don't need a ton of space for a lot of these animals. So definitely look into it, and maybe just get a few at a time and just see how it goes. Look into your local ordinance, of course, and just make sure that they're good to go in your area. Thank you all so much for watching. Conquer tomorrow by preparing today. I'll talk to you all later. Bye.